enterprises. What's been done to further that objective? Thanks.
Jolene van Wyk, Landbouweekblad magazine. Minister, we know that when these chicken, the American chicken, when they come imported into the country, that they're going to be repacked. At the end of the day, how will the consumer know that which are the chicken coming from the US? And also, is there indication through which ports those chicken will be imported? That's all for now.
Okay, let me answer some of them. I might have to hand over to our colleagues from DAF or to Faisal for some of them. But let me just say that we did, obviously, when we were negotiating the quota, we did look at the potential impact on the local poultry industry and particularly on jobs in the local poultry industry of these imports. And we did say that 6,500 jobs were potentially at risk as a result of that, if nothing else happened. I think that was the critical point, if nothing else happened. So the other side of it was that there were other things that we're doing. Some of it is in the framework of the Agriculture Policy Action Plan, and I think that maybe officials from DAF might want to say something, but immediately arising there are the question that Linda was asking, giving black-owned businesses the opportunity to do the packaging as an ancillary to their own operations in the poultry production industry. There were a number of commitments made about development and training. I think we will want to be exploring those. There's also the question that we have raised with the United States about the SPS restrictions they have on white meat sales into the United States. In addition to that, there are a number of opportunities for sales of exports of South African poultry that we've been working on with the poultry industry in the Middle East, for example. So all of those things, I think, are matters which we're attending to with DAF and the poultry industry, and DAF is leading on quite a number of those actually, so I'll let them add when I'm finished. On the what are we importing? We're importing bone-in portions, that's what it is. Those are wings and legs and other parts, which I think we've said before. This is the thing about the poultry industry and poultry trade globally, is that the developed world consumes a larger proportion of white meat, and there's a surplus in the developed world of brown meat, and that is either exported to other countries or it is turned into dog food, which I believe gets much less price than exporting it. So that's what we are fundamentally importing, and that's what I know the poultry industry is saying, that we're not importing whole bird. They say they're competitive on that, but we're importing the brown meat. So that's what they and I think we understand that, and I think we're trying to look at all of those issues from the point of view of ensuring that we still have the wherewithal to support the expansion of a local poultry industry in South Africa. Then on the question of, I don't think, but I think Faisal can confirm, I think there's any limitation on which ports the products are coming in. Yes, I think some of it is going to be repackaged. It comes in containers, and I think it's frozen as well. It's not going to be in a form that is immediately accessible to consumers. I think that how are consumers going to know? Well, that might be something that we'll have to be attending to as we move further forward. And we'll have to see what the code number is of the repackaged product, because sometimes looking at the barcode is a first indication of where the product comes from. But in any case, United States is not the only place that we're importing poultry from. We're importing plenty of poultry from the European Union and also other parts of the world as well. It's part of the mix already, so it's just one other place where poultry is coming from. I think in a market where there's a significant number of importers as well as local production. But I don't know whether anybody from DAF wants to add to what I'm saying, or Faisal, because I think they might have more details. I'm told actually that nobody from DAF has been able to make it to the press conference in Tshwane, so Faisal then.
Yeah, perhaps I could add that the vets, of course, have been very much a part of the process. And, one of the reasons why the process has taken us longer than we expected is because our vets have been scrupulous in ensuring that the product that comes to South Africa meets all our health requirements. And as Minister has indicated, in the last few months, we have also worked with the Department of Health. So all the meat that is going to be imported, poultry, beef and pork, will meet both our own standards and the international standards of the OIE. And our vets have ensured that that will happen. In addition, the vets will continue to undertake the normal process of sampling each consignment as it comes through, and based on those tests, the products will come through into the market. So there will be the normal process that is applied to all other imports of meat, including, as Minister said, chicken products from the EU. On the issue of the development aspects, as we agreed mutually between South Africa and the United States, we've built into the agreement a program to support the development of small and medium enterprises in South Africa, particularly the small emerging farmers and new emerging importers. And already on the 1st of March, there was a meeting at the U.S. Embassy with some experts from the United States who were available to provide information and advice to new black importers who also seek to get access to the quota, the import quota. Thank you.
I'm informed actually Dr. Modasani is now in Tshwane. So any further questions that are veterinary nature, we can also ask him to participate, but also let me acknowledge the hard work which he and his team have done in getting us to this point, because it hasn't been easy, and they've been bearing the brunt of much of it. So I think just to make that acknowledgement as well. But okay, you can take another round now.
Good day, Minister. Paul Vecchiato, Bloomberg. Which harbours did this, and when did this consignment, the first consignment, arrive, and how many tons was it? Just on that. And then when did this letter actually come through from the U.S. Trade? Was it from the U.S. Trade representative himself, and when did it actually arrive on your desk? Thank you.
Minister, as part of the Proudly South Africa initiative, wouldn't it be a good idea to have made in South Africa labels on our meat so that consumers can choose, actually? I mean, I know that there's going to be some hidden code where you can tell, but most people don't know that. Why can't we have made in South Africa for our chicken? Thanks.
Minister, that's basically the same point Linda is raising, and also which I asked previously, and I feel that we really need to get clarity for our readers, for the consumers out there. Will those chicken be labelled as coming from the USA, for instance, not coming via Walvis Bay port, coming into the country, being labeled as coming from Namibia, for instance. Will the chicken be labeled as coming from America?
Lester from NCA. Minister, I've seen on social media lots of people raising concern, but as you say, now we've been importing chicken from elsewhere in the world. Why do you think South Africans somehow feel concerned that we're importing chicken from the United States?
Well, okay. I don't know. Maybe Faisal will tell us where the consignment landed and everything. I think you can go to the website of Senator Coons and find more details there, because they've been publishing lots of pictures and things of that sort. But I don't know which port they landed in, so maybe Faisal does. Do you want to just say?
Well, I can confirm the first consignments arrived at the port of Durban on Friday, and the necessary tests were conducted and they were cleared, and they then moved to their retailers, and they were on the shelves by the end of Friday evening. That's what I'm told. We have some statistics about the numbers, so already there are about 16 tons of bone-in chicken pieces that have arrived. You'll recall that the total tonnage we have agreed to import per annum is 65,000 tons. Thank you.
Which is not all bunched up in one go. It has to be spread across the year. That's the other part of that's part of the agreement. The thing I quoted, it was an email coming from the United States Trade Representative, Michael Froman, and I received it yesterday afternoon, South Africa time. Yes, the chicken will be labeled where it comes from. But that's if you buy it in the supermarkets. Obviously, if it goes into the catering industry, that'll be a different story. But that's the as far as buying it straight off the supermarket shelves is concerned. Then I think that there is no problem whatsoever in local producers, and I know that, for example, the pork producers have done this, promoting South African product as healthy or however they choose to do it. And in fact, we have been working as the Department of Trade and Industry with not particularly only meat, but we have been supporting a Eat Well, Eat Safe, Eat Local campaign together with Proudly South Africa. So I think that those campaigns are perfectly legitimate and can continue. At the same time, of course, as I said, we will not use that as government to restrict products coming from any particular country, or we're not going to tarnish the name of the products from any particular country. As I said, we have our regulations in place, and I think our vets can confirm that we have ensured that there is a robust enough system to ensure that the product that is imported from wherever it comes will be not threatening animal or human health in South Africa. I think that's really what we've done. That was what the discussion over the last few months, the last few months of the engagement was about. Was ultimately about that. Well, if any product gets mislabeled, then that is an offence, and we want to know about it. But I don't believe that that has been the case with this shipment of US product. Well, I don't really want to try to talk about the sentiment of people in the country around this issue, but I think there's a combination of loyalty to South African products. Probably people have reacted a little bit to some of the blows that were traded in the negotiation process, but I think we're now past that. We're doing what we need to do. The bigger interest was to ensure that the AGOA access remained, and that we've in fact fact, enlarged that in the last little while for products like lychees and other agro-processing products. I think that was the issue. We didn't have a choice between our ideal and something that was we didn't want. We had to make a choice between something which came with something we had to pay for, or we would lose something of benefit. That was what it was about. We could retain something of value to the country, but we'd have to pay for it, or we would lose a valuable market access opportunity in the United States. That was what was before us, and I think that actually, if we look at it, it's taken rather longer than maybe some people might have expected, but then I said before, I don't know of any trade agreement that finishes on time. That includes the Trans-Pacific Partnership, that includes the TTIP, that includes the tripartite free trade area, that includes the Doha Development Round, for goodness sake. I don't know of any agreement that finishes on time. So I think that what we did was we were faced with the demand to remove the anti-dumping duty. We said, let's agree to disagree about the legitimacy of the anti-dumping duty. We maintain it's a legitimate anti-dumping duty in place, and let's negotiate a quota within it. We then negotiated, we got agreement to do that. Then when we started the process, the initial demands from the US side were for way more than double the eventual quota. And bringing in the industry, negotiating with the industry, engaging with the industry, I think gave us a much firmer landing ground, one which will cost us something, will cost the industry something, and I have to pay tribute to the industry. They went along with it. They had nothing to gain. They were the ones who were going to pay the poultry industry in South Africa. But they went along with it and negotiated a reasonable deal. One which has got some developmental content to it, which we also inserted. And then, as I said before, we agreed that we would work with them on a number of other measures to support them accessing other markets, access for white meat in the US, and so on and so forth. And we committed to carry on those discussions. So I think that in the end of the day, we've come out of here with a deal which I would want to argue is a reasonable enough deal, and that we've delivered on it. We've managed to secure continued participation of South Africa in AGOA, which, by the way, I think this issue of the meats was only one wind in the straw about a whole lot of questions about whether a country like South Africa should be in AGOA at all. That was raised at the time of the renewal. And I think that we've managed to secure continued participation in a trade arrangement. It's not an agreement, it's a one-way arrangement that the United States puts in place through its legislature, and that we've secured our continued participation in this arrangement, which is something which basically underscores a growing, fairly balanced trade relationship, and one which the AGOA access adds a proportion of value-added products from our side into the US, and also supports a growing investment relationship between US companies and South Africa. So I think that in the end of the day, I'm satisfied that we've come through this, and we've got an outcome which is the best outcome that we could get from the point of view of the national interest of South Africa. Thanks.
Sorry, Minister. Just quickly, the threat on imposing duties on South African wine, fruit, agricultural products, you think that has been lifted now, or potentially will be lifted, or recommended to be lifted? Thank you.
The phrase I read out from the letter, a sentence I read out from the letter, is saying that the threat of suspension of agricultural products that was in force and would have been enforced until and would have been acted on the 15th they have now asked the president to lift it. That's what they've said. So he's satisfied that what we've done is enough for them to lift it. So the suspension notice will be lifted. That's what we've been told, and that means that we participate in AGOA Same as everybody else who's in AGOA.
Okay. Pretoria, is there any question?
Do you want to ask Dr. Modisani?
Yes, that's good, yes. Chilizi?
Cyril, I don't think we have any questions. Thanks.
Minister wants Dr. Mudisani, if there's anything to say. I understand there is a workshop on HID, historically disadvantaged, at the embassy today, ne?
On the first, it was on the first.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Yes, there were workshops that were arranged at the USAID offices, and then there are also workshops that were taking place also at the Department of Health from the health consideration point of view. We were asked to just do a presentation on the import requirements for the 3 meats and how are we going to facilitate that. And we have been doing those inputs at the 2 workshops. Thank you.
I just have for the point of consumer education. Minister said a lot of brown meat is imported. It was the excess from the developed countries. So if I go to a takeaway and I order and I get a breast, that is more likely to be a South African piece of chicken. Where I order a hot wing, that is more likely to be an imported. Could Minister just clarify that for the sake of consumer education?
Well, yeah. You're asking a vegetarian to describe the purchasing processes of Nando's and Kentucky Fried Chicken or whatever. I don't know, to be honest, but the point I'm making is the point I know, that the consumption patterns are different. I mean, you know, there are people, of course, in the US that eat wings. It's quite well known, soul food and stuff like that. But the dominant consumption pattern is to eat the white meat. And there's a surplus. It's the same in Europe, you know, European Union, the same thing. There's a surplus of brown meat, which they can't sell in their own market, so they want to export it. And the places that buy it are places where the consumption patterns are different. Many of our people prefer to eat the bone portions. That's what happens. So we, in a way, might have a surplus of white meat. So I don't know, I can't give you the details. I doubt that Dr. Modisani really knows that when you go to the Kentucky Fried Chicken, actually it can't be called that because it isn't from Kentucky, the KFC, when you go to the KFC around the corner, where the inputs come from, I don't think we can tell you that directly.
Thank you, Mr.
Okay.
Okay, colleagues, thank you.
Well, yeah.